Welcome to our Facebook live event for the UBC Master of Data Science program. My name is Matthias Salibian. I'm one of the two co-directors of the program, and I'll be the moderator today. I'd like to introduce our panel today. If you can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Mike Gelbart. I'm an instructor in the Department of Computer Science here and in the MDS program, and my background in my PhD is in machine learning.
Hello, my name is Anne Condon. I'm a co-director of the program along with Matthias. I'm a computer science professor, former department head of the computer science department, and my background is in algorithms and bioinformatics.
Hi, my name is Milad Mehmeh. I'm the Director of Program Operations and Student Management for the Master of Data Science program.
Thank you all. I forgot to say that I'm a faculty member in the Stats department at UBC here as well. So before we get going, a few things about housekeeping. This event is going to last for an hour, and it will be recorded and posted online, so you can watch it later if you miss or if you want to rehear some of the answers. We'll start with a short presentation about the program, and then we'll move on to the question and answer part. If you register to the event on Facebook, you've had the opportunity to submit questions, which we have, and we'll go through those first. But at any time during the event, you can also post questions online. They will be collected and passed on to us as well to answer. I think that's all I have to say about housekeeping. So, Milad, if you want to start with the presentation.
Sure. So I'm going to do a quick presentation about the Masters of Data Science program, just an introduction to the program. So it's a 10-month intensive professionals master's program in data science. And what data science is it's an interdisciplinary field about processes and systems to extract knowledge or insights from data in various forms. So that's all on our website, and you can find out more about what data science is on our website as well. We're currently in our second cohort, so our first cohort graduated last year at the end of June, and we had 20 students graduate last year. This year we have 45 students in our cohort from 11 different countries, so it's a very diverse group of students. And they have backgrounds in sciences, in engineering, in arts, business, finance. So their educational background in terms of their undergrad degrees or master's degrees is also very diverse. Diversity is also, their work experience is also very diverse. So we have students who've done some co-op work and then applied and got into the program. But we also have students that have up to 10, 15 years of work experience. All the students that graduated in July 2017, so our last cohort have found jobs. They're all employed, so that's the good news. And if you're looking for more data on both our current cohort and our graduates, you can find that on our website as well, under the Students and Alumni page, under the About link at the top. What makes this program unique? Basically, I think the reason that this program is unique is that it has 24 one-credit courses that teach you all the skills that you need to succeed in data science. So it's a wide variety of topics and programs and statistical courses and computer science courses that we teach. The other thing that makes this program unique, I think, it's accelerated and intensive. So if you're looking to finish quickly in 10 months, that's what we have to offer. So it's very intense. So we do a lot of work in 10 months. It is also a professional program. So it's focused on practical experience gained through integration of real-world data sets across the courses. So it's not research-based. I think it also has a very unique structure. So it's about a third statistics, a third computer science, and a third data science. Also, we have a very strong connection to the employer community and to industry. So we have a capstone project. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. We have employers coming to talk to our students throughout the program. We have a couple of big career fairs. We have tech talks and guest lectures. So we have a really strong connection to employers and industry, and they're interested in talking to our students. We also have a strong career preparation a piece of the program where we have a dedicated staff that helps students with their career decision making, with resumes, interview skills. We have workshops on different career related skills. And the program is interdisciplinary. So once you have a degree in data science, you can basically work in any industry, from public to private to small companies, big companies, tech to hospitals and healthcare. So it's a very wide range of opportunities and industries you can work in. A little bit about our curriculum. So we developed the curriculum from scratch. So all the courses that we developed are specifically developed for this master's program. We have statistics courses and statistical inference, computation, regression. We have computer science courses in machine learning, unsupervised and supervised learning. We have data science courses, obviously, in programming, mostly in R and Python, data wrangling, data visualization. And then we have courses in what I call data science soft skills, so communications, privacy and ethics, etc. If you want to find out more about all the courses that we have on our website, there is actually a page on all the 24 courses that we teach, so you can go there and check those out. Our classes are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4 p.m., 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., so you'll be in class every day, Monday through Thursday. In the mornings, you'll have lectures, and in the afternoons, you have the labs. You have Fridays and the weekends off, but you probably use that time to do your homework, prepare for assignments, and study for quizzes. In terms of assessment, so we have every course pretty much has a quiz or a project, and it's assignment based, so there's no final exams, and also labs at the end of every week. You'll have lab assignments to submit as well. At the end of, after 8 months, you'll do a 2-month capstone project. So this project is with an organization, a company in the Vancouver area usually, and a team of 3 to 4 students work with that organization or company on developing a product or a presentation or a Shiny app or something like that. So they work in a team of 3 or 4 students on a data science question. Some of our capstone partners last year included BC Stats, some UBC departments, Unbounds. This year we're going to have partnerships with Microsoft and Finn and Providence Healthcare. So again, a wide variety of organizations that we partner with the capstone project. In terms of career opportunities, so this is a very fast-growing field. There is a expected talent gap of between more than 10,000 to 19,000 professionals, in this area, anyways, in Canada. Like I said, you'll have opportunities to work in all industries. You'll have opportunities to meet employers that come in and talk to us. We had more than 25 employer events and 2 career fairs last year. This current cohort will work together with more than maybe 15 to 16 or 17 capstone partners. And like I said, we have dedicated staff to help students with their career preparation. The application process. So our deadline is March 23rd, 2018. Basically, we look at all aspects of your application. So we look at the prerequisite courses, whether you've taken them and how you did in them. We look at your grades, your language and communication skills, so your letter of intent becomes important. We look at your resume, and we also look at your references. So there's not really one thing that is more important than the other. So we look at the whole application package that you submit to us and then make our decisions based on that. We're expecting to enroll in this cohort in September 80 students. That's the target number of students that we're aiming for. And, but we also are expecting a lot of applications. So it's going to be a pretty competitive program this time around. In terms of financial aid, for domestic students, so Canadian citizens or permanent residents, if you're eligible for student loans, and if you're approved for a student loan and you have an unmet need, we also have a bursary program that you could apply for. We have a couple of entrance scholarships for domestic students, and for international students, we also have entrance scholarships that when you submit your application, you'll be automatically considered for the scholarship, so you don't have to submit another separate application form for that. Some tips and next steps. Some tips. There is a self-assessment test on our website, on our admissions page. So I would recommend that you go through that. If you can go through that and you have no or little problems doing the self-assessment test, then you're probably ready to apply for the program. There is also, make sure that you know what data science is before you apply to the program. So there's other programs in big data at the Simon Fraser University, or in business analytics. Also at UBC, the Sauder School of Business has a program on business analytics. So make sure you apply for the program that you think you're most suitable for. So look on our What is Data Science page on our website to make sure that you're applying to the program that you're actually looking to apply to. Another tip is on your application, on your letter of intent, tell us your story. So why do you want to apply for data science? What do you know about data science? And what do you want to do after you graduate from our program? So your story on your letter of intent or statement of intent is important to us. We look at that very carefully. Also, I've mentioned that it's a very intensive and accelerated program, so make sure you plan ahead. So you're probably not going to have time to work part-time or do something in your free time, because you're not going to have free time. It's a very intensive program. That's how we fit it all in 10 months. If you're lucky and you get an offer from us, make sure that maybe in the summer before September you brush up on your statistics, math, and programming skills. Maybe take some online courses. We usually recommend that because it's, again, an intensive program, so you can hit the ground running. And apply by March 23rd, because that's our deadline. And finally, I wanted to mention that UBC Okanagan now also has a Master of Data Science program. So they're going to go into their first cohort in September. Applications are not open yet, but they will be opening soon. So that's another UBC program. It's at UBC Okanagan in Kelowna. So look out for that. There's links from our website to their website as well, so you can look at that as well. Finally, if you have any questions, obviously you can connect with us on our Facebook page. You can email us. The email address is on your screen, or you can call us at our phone number, and we're going to go through a lot of questions that you already submitted when you registered at this session right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Milad. So, I said at the beginning, what we'll do now is we'll go through the questions that we received through our Facebook page first, and then the ones that you may be uploading or posting now as the event goes. We'll get to those later on. So I'll start with, and I'll be the moderator, so I'll just be posting questions to the panel for them to answer. So the first group of questions refer to the requirements. What are the requirements that are needed to apply for the program? So the first one is what are the GPA requirements for the program, and can I apply with a GPA lower than 76%?
So I can take that.
Sure, go ahead.
So our minimum requirements are a B+ average or 76%. So if you have a minimum of a B+ average, obviously you can apply. If you have a lower GPA, you have to realize that it's a very competitive program, so we get a lot of applications, so you can decide whether you want to still apply. You can apply if you have maybe a good work experience or a lot of background or very good references, so we will still consider your application if you if you have a GPA that's below the minimum requirements. But keep in mind that it is a very competitive program, and we're expecting a lot of applications.
Thank you. What about GRE? Do we require GRE to apply?
No, the GRE is not required.
Nope. Good. How about language requirements? What is the minimum? Well, the minimum TOEFL and IELTS scores are online, but can I apply with a TOEFL score that is lower than the minimum?
So I would say it's the same answer as the GPA question. So you can apply. Keep in mind that it is competitive. We will look at your application if you do not meet the minimum requirements, but you will have to kind of make it up with some other piece of your application. So whether maybe you have a good background or a good resume, or you have a good letter of intent.
Perfect. So the next set of questions refer to the difference between having work experience and having academic background. So the question reads, how much do you value work experience? Can I enter the program without much background? And what do I do if I don't have much programming or stats background? Can I still apply? So how do we balance both?
I can take it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we definitely value work experience, and obviously we look at the complete picture when we look at an application. So work experience is one factor that goes into that, but it adds a lot to the program when we have students from all sorts of different backgrounds. We've heard comments from students that, oh, I'm learning so much from my peers because this person's straight out of school and this person's been working in a certain industry for a decade or something like that. So experience is definitely valuable, and another thing that's valuable is showing us your motivation for pursuing data science. And one possible motivation is, well, I've been in this job for several years and I got stuck because I needed to have better skills for analyzing data in order to progress in my work, but that's not the only path to this program, obviously. So there are students who are currently finishing up their undergrad who, oh, I realized that this is what I want to do, and of course that's also perfectly valid.
Yeah, I can add to that. So work experience doesn't have to be work experience after your undergrad degrees. So you can have work experience as an internship or as in a co-op position. So you can do that. You can gain work experience while you're still in school as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think the other part of that question had to do with how much programming and
what if
background.
Yeah, the question reads, what if I don't have much programming or stats background?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would think we would recommend for anybody who doesn't have much background to make sure they understand the prerequisites and to take the prerequisites. You might be able to take them before you complete your current degree program if you're still in school, or over the summer. It's really important to have those prerequisites so that you can hit the ground running when you get to the program.
Yeah, so I would say if you haven't done any of the prerequisites and then you apply and say, I'm going to do all of these things in the summer before starting MDS. That's worrisome in the sense that, well, for one thing, we can't see how well you did in those courses, and also you haven't yet gotten a taste of these subjects and been able to make as informed of a decision, I would say. Whereas if someone meets all the prerequisites or exceeds them even in some areas and are missing one prerequisite, then I think that would be reasonable to have a clear plan to pursue that over the summer.
Thank you. So related to this, another question is, what is the profile of a good applicant? Do we have
So,
a successful applicant
yeah.
profile?
So our students, like I said before, I think have a very diverse background. So you don't have to be an expert in computer science or statistics. We actually take a lot of students that are not in computer science or statistics. So you can have an undergrad degree in business or finance or engineering. Maybe you have a little bit of work experience, whether it's an internship or a job after graduation. I think we put a lot of value in your letter of intent, so your story, like why you are applying for this program, and like Mike was saying, you know, you tell us that you understand, you've kind of tasted maybe data science and the importance of it in your industry. I think that's a good applicant. That's the profile of a good applicant.
True, and I think there's a lot of diversity in the applicants, so different people coming to apply will have different strengths. We're seeing some people who have just a stellar academic background but little work experience. We see other people who have very interesting work experiences, highly motivated, mature people who maybe their academic background isn't quite as good a fit with the program, but we're confident that they have a lot to contribute and a lot to learn from the program.
Maybe I'll just add as well that in addition to our website, we also have a blog at ubc-mds.github.io, and there's a bunch of content there that might be of interest to you, including some tips on preparing a strong application to the MDS program. So I'd recommend checking that out. Some highlights from there for me personally, for example, is understanding what the MDS program is. So have you put in the time and effort to understand what the program does for you? That shows us that you're serious about the program. And there's a bunch more on the blog website that I'd encourage people to take a look at.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be very useful. There's a lot of information online that will. It's important that you review, and it'll help you. So the next set of questions deals with the application procedure, sort of our side of the application procedure procedures. The questions are: what are the admission selection procedures? When do you make decisions, and will we send out conditional offers? So I'll repeat them again. Maybe we'll go through them one by one. What are the admission selection procedures?
Well, the team meets as a group to review the applicants. Usually, for promising applicants, at least two people take a close look at the materials, all the materials that the applicant submitted. And then in the group, we'll decide who looks strong. And we expect to be making offers well past the deadline, because it will take us time to carefully review all of these applications and make good decisions.
I'll just add that we do start looking at the applications as they are complete. So when the application is complete and we have sufficient information to start reviewing them, we start with those, right? Do we send out conditional offers? Will we consider sending out conditional offers?
So all our offers are conditional offers. So if you get an offer from us, it's at least at the minimum condition to paying the deposit, the $1,000 deposit, which will, once you pay it, then your space is kind of reserved. And the second condition at the minimum that we have is the official transcript. So we need to get your official transcripts, which will show us that if you're still finishing up your undergrad degree, if you get your official transcripts in June or July, we'll wait for that, so it's not a problem. So once we have your official transcripts and we know that you finished your degree and you finished all the courses that you said you would be finishing, that's when we remove the conditions. We sometimes, if some people say, "Oh, I haven't done my TOEFL yet," or my IELTS, we can also put a condition on meeting the minimum TOEFL or IELTS requirements, or whatever individual case conditions there might be, we may put in some conditions as well. So everybody is kind of different, but at the minimum, so everybody will get a conditional offer, and at the minimum it will be a condition on the deposit and the official transcripts.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so now a bit more specific about what's going on with applications. How many places, how many spots will there be in the 2018 cohort?
Yeah.
So there will be 80 places. So we'll expect to make offers to more than 80 people, because I'm sure some of all these bright people will have more than one choice. But in the end, we hope to get 80 people on site for the program next year.
Perfect. That's exciting. How many applications have we got so far?
Yeah, so we've received more than 300 applications so far. It's hard to say how many we will get at the end, at March 23rd, because
These are complete applications.
Complete applications, yeah. So most people usually submit applications closer to the deadline. I can say that last year we had more than 500 applications, and this year we're expecting more than that.
Okay. So the admission rate will be about?
Yeah, it depends on how many applications we get, but maybe around 10-15%.
15%.
Yeah.
All right. So we have now a few questions about the profile of the students already in the program. So the first question reads, could you provide a profile on admitted students, such as median undergrad GPA? So some statistics on the grades.
To be honest, we haven't really looked at that. We just, when we look at applications, we just, like I said, we look at the whole package. So if you have the minimum GPA requirements, then we look at all the other things, and then if everything is good and we like your application, we just send an offer. So we don't really care about, I mean, we care about grades, obviously, but we don't say, oh, this person has really high grades, so we're going to definitely accept them. It's a combination of different things. So we really, if you meet the minimum, that's great. And even if you don't meet the minimum, you can still submit an application if there's other aspects of your application that are really strong.
Perfect. So a few questions about the demographics of the students. Things like average age, years of work experience, undergraduate major. If you can comment on those.
So we also have a blog post about this on the blog that I mentioned. I don't know all these numbers off the top of my head, but the current cohort is approximately half domestic, half international. I think it was also very close to 50-50 in terms of men and women. We have students from a whole bunch of countries and students with a whole bunch of backgrounds. So most students will have an undergrad degree, but several have a different master's degree. I think one student has a PhD degree. One student is currently in medical school and taking a year to do our program before returning to medical school. So quite a broad range of backgrounds. And as I said, I think there's some more exact numbers in terms of age and work experience on the blog.
Perfect. How about geographic representation, sort of across Canada? So which Canadian provinces and territories do we have students from? Or well, you referred to 50-50% between international and domestic students. How many of those are from the U.S.? So sort of a North American distribution of students?
So as Mike was saying, if you want exact numbers, we just updated our website with the stats. So if you go on our website, mds.science.ubc.ca, and then click on the About link at the top, and then in the pull-down menu, click on Students and Alumni. All the stats are there, so you can look at them. Most current students have a Canadian citizenship, and then number 2 is China, then India, then US, then all over the world. So it's a very diverse group, and that's what we like about the cohort, I think.
Okay. So now we have a few questions about what happens after an offer has been sent, or accepted even. The first question reads: once an offer is accepted, what is the best way for a student to prepare for the program?
I can take that.
Sure.
So Milad mentioned earlier this self-test on our website. If you haven't done it already, I think that would be a good place to start, and just identify areas of maybe needing to brush up a little bit. Then programming is an important one, and the official prerequisite is a programming course. We use R and Python in the program, so one would be even more prepared already knowing some R or Python, and even more prepared having dabbled in both of those languages. So that's one way of preparing. I think on our website as well, we also have a list of suggested online courses in the various prerequisite areas. And so if you identify a particular area, then you could also check out some of those courses and resources.
Perfect. Are there any for financial aid, and how are the fees structured? I'm guessing this question refers on how are the payments structured through the year?
Yeah. So the payment is divided into 3 equal installments. So the first one will be due in September, the second one in January, and the last one in May. In terms of financial aid, I think I mentioned it already in the presentation. So for domestic students, there's government student loans, and then if you get those and you apply, you have an unmet need, you can apply for bursaries. And then we also have a couple of international scholarships and a couple of domestic scholarships. Again, you don't have to apply for those. Once you submit your application, you will be automatically considered for those.
Perfect. Okay, so a few questions about the curriculum. There's one very specific that says how much machine learning is covered in the program, what tools are used mostly during the course, during the program, and what programming languages will I learn? I guess you've already touched on R and Python, but how much machine learning is in the program?
I'd say, roughly speaking, it's around a quarter of the program could be called machine learning. I'm sure various people could disagree with me on that in various ways, but that's approximately it. In terms of tools, I already mentioned R and Python. I know the Python side better myself, but we use scikit-learn, and then we use Keras and TensorFlow for the deep learning.
Great. Okay. How do you think is our program able to prepare students for the job market in just 10 months?
Well, I think the program is intense and very focused. Students have already got a degree, so they've already got a very strong education. The program uses real-world data sets and labs to make sure the students have a lot of hands-on experience. And then the 2-month capstone project is another way for students to really get ready, because they're in that project, they're working in a team, they're working on a project from industry. We also have a mentoring, career advice throughout the program. There's constantly lunches and seminars and workshops and other opportunities for students to prepare themselves for the market, prepare their CVs, meet with local industry representatives, and alumni of the program to find out how to position themselves well. Students generally take very good advantage of those opportunities, and so by the time they graduate, getting a job is easy.
Yeah, and to add a little bit to that, when designing the program, we knew we had 10 months, and so the question was, what are the right 10 months worth of material to put into this exactly for this goal, essentially, which is to go out and be a productive data scientist after graduating from the program. So we've carefully selected the curriculum and the concepts and the tools and the balance between concepts and tools and the communication skills and all these kinds of things for that particular purpose. Another thing I'll add is that often the students end up working on some side projects. I have no idea how they have time for this, but some of them do. And often the students will end up writing their own blogs, which has turned out to be great because they get more opportunity to put things into practice that we cover in the program, and also employers love to see that kind of thing. So if you come out of the program, and we actually have as part of the communication course, here's how you set up a blog. So everyone sets up a blog anyway, and then some students continue blogging, and then when they're going hunting for jobs, they can say, here's my GitHub profile, here's my blog. I think some of the students were even getting contacted by companies like, hey, I saw your blog post, do you want to come interview or something like that. So that's been a pretty great avenue as well.
And also, we had a webinar about a month ago where we had a couple of alumni and a student to talk, answering questions, just like a panel event like this. And the students were asked the same questions. The alumni were asked the same questions. Do you think that 10 months was enough? And so you can go watch it yourself. But basically, they said yes. We learned a lot. There's never you have to always keep learning. You never finish. You're not never finished learning. But it was enough for them to go out in the labor market and find a job.
Perfect. Are there internship opportunities during the program? I guess we touched a bit.
So we have the capstone project, which is 10 months, and you work with an employer, with an organization, an industry partner, on a data science-related question for 2 months in a team of 3 or 4 students. So that's real-life work experience. There's a project. After the project, at the end of the project, you have to have a product to present to the employer, whether it's a report or a Shiny app or something like that. So it's kind of like an internship opportunity. It's just called the capstone project. We're also, we get that question a lot, but all our graduates from our previous cohort, they found a job right away within 2, 3, 4 months. So usually people like internships because they can get some work experience, put that on a resume in order to find a real job. But all our graduates found a real job, so there was really no need for an internship, really. So I think that's the good thing about being in a hot industry.
I'll just maybe add one more thing that came to mind since Milad mentioned the capstone, which is that right now in February, March, we're in the season where partner organizations have approached us and said, hey, we'd like to do a capstone project with you guys. We work together, create a proposal, and they come in and give presentations to the students during lunch. And I think just sitting through 15 to 20 of these presentations is already very beneficial for the students to see, okay, these are people in various organizations, industry, government, nonprofit, who are stuck on something. They have a data science problem, and I get to hear in detail about 15 to 20 of these different problems. And then, of course, you don't have time to work on all of them. You work on one of them for the capstone project. But already starting to see what type of problems are out there, I think is quite valuable.
Perfect. I guess I'll chip in with one of the questions that is been posted right now that it's related to this is, are these capstone projects decided or assigned by us, by the university or by the program itself, or how is it? How are they assigned to each other?
The students rate the capstone projects after seeing these presentations, and then they are assigned by us, but mostly by an algorithm that just tries to make everyone as happy as possible with little or no intervention by us. So we just make the assignments to give people the projects that they want, basically.
And also, the organizations that we work with, they've either approached us and they want to do a capstone project, or we already have a relationship with them, so we just contact them and let them know about capstone, and if they're interested, they can do that. But I think if students have organizations in mind that they want to contact and encourage to submit a capstone project to us, a proposal to us, we're open to that as well. So it's a cooperation between.
But it has to be done quite far in advance.
Yeah.
So by the end of the calendar year, end of December each year, we're essentially done taking proposals. And then now, for example, February, we already have the presentations rolling in.
Perfect. Couple more questions about the program itself. Are we considering to have an online version of the program? That's it.
There are no immediate plans for an online version. I think that the physical presence of being here with this cohort, working intensely and interacting and learning from some of the top experts in the field is much better than an online version. However, we will be putting at least some of the material online, so students will be able to see some of the material before they come.
So a little bit of material is already online, both lecture notes and labs, and we're planning to increase that a little bit, probably over the summer as well.
Perfect. This is another question that comes up regularly is the following. Is our degree, our MDS degree, equivalent to a master's degree? And I'm guessing it refers to a research-based master's degree.
So it is a master's degree. Master's degrees can mean many different things. More traditionally here at UBC, a master's degree would have a strong research focus and involve writing a thesis. So this is a professional master's degree, so it's very different in its emphasis and focus than a traditional, more research-based degree. And it takes a lot less time as well.
Perfect. Okay, so we move on to job opportunities and what to do after our students are done. The first question asks if we can comment about job opportunities in Canada for a data scientist. Who are the major recruiters from our program? Comment along those lines.
We don't have that much data ourselves yet because our first cohort was not that large, but we had quite the full range of large, mid, and small size companies. And it was interesting. We also had companies that desperately knew they needed a data scientist, companies that knew they had this problem they wanted to solve but needed to figure out that the right position to advertise for was data scientist, and sometimes we helped them with that. One of our graduates just knocked on the door of a particular company and said, "You need a data scientist," and turns out they did. And they hired him, and it was such a success that they're now looking for a second data scientist.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I think Vancouver is I think a pretty good tech hub right now in Western Canada and in Canada as a whole. There is head offices like Microsoft and Amazon and some other bigger tech companies, and also a lot of startups in Vancouver. So if you want to stay in this area, and it's also close to Seattle, so it's a good corner of the world to be in, I think, right now for data scientists.
Perfect. So related to all this is what are the job results or the results of the job hunting for the recent graduates, I guess our past cohort, and what kind of salary are they getting, whereabouts in the world are they working?
Yeah. So again, all that data is on our website under the Students and Alumni page. But just off the top of my head, I know that all of the graduates from our last cohort, even though it was a small cohort, have found jobs. I think more than 50% of them have salaries that are $80,000 or higher. I think 85% or 86% of them, something like that, increased their salary from their previous job. So all that data can be found on our website. They're good numbers, I think.
All right. I'm going to go to a couple of questions that are being posted right now. One is, have physicians ever been accepted into the program? And
so as I mentioned, we do have a current student who's in the middle of an MD degree. We haven't yet had anyone who's completed their MD degree in the program, but who knows? Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So we have a few questions about international students, the needs of international students in particular. I'm going to go through a few of them. The first one is, what kind of work visa can international students get after our master's program?
Yeah. So we actually do have a department at UBC that helps international students specifically with visa issues and immigration and those kind of things. So we're actually not allowed to talk about visas and stuff like that because you have to be certified and you have to know all the details and all the application procedures keep changing. So we can't really say much at this panel, but to say that there is a department at UBC that helps international students specifically with all of those questions. We actually have a workshop next week, I think, for our international students about how to immigrate and how to get a work permit in Canada.
Perfect. So related to that, there's a question that says, does UBC help with career placement specifically for international students?
Yeah, it depends what you mean by career placement, but we do help with resume writing, interview skills. We teach you how to kind of market yourself in the labor market. So we're not going to come and give you a job or say, go apply for this job, but we'll give you all the tools and resources that you need to go out and apply for jobs. We'll help you with interview skills. We actually, all of us, we have a network in the community. So if any person in our network is looking for data scientists, they'll usually let us know, and we'll send that out and announce those to our students. So that's what we do. We don't place you in a job, but we give you all the tools to get a job yourself.
And all these services are available to all our students, right? There's no differences between international or domestic students.
No. Yeah, so maybe I'll just add to what Milad said, that several of the jobs our past graduates are now in were not posted on some sort of job posting website, but it was more one of us knew somebody, so I can speak from personal experience. Say someone has a company and I know my students are graduating in June, and so I will say to someone, well, it's time to stop procrastinating hiring the data scientist that you know you eventually needed. Otherwise, it's going to be another year from now when we graduate our next cohort. So they'll send me a little blurb about the company and the job. Sometimes I'll edit it a little bit. Then I'll post it in the private Slack channel to our current students, and then they'll communicate directly. And then several job placements happen like that. So another advantage of being in the program is you have access to these opportunities that aren't necessarily posted publicly.
And as we get more and more graduates, our alumni are posting opportunities for our current students. They're doing capstone projects. So it's becoming kind of like a community of data scientists, and people kind of network with each other and kind of create opportunities for each other as well.
And we have a separate Slack workspace for alumni and current students, and we can already see them interacting through there.
So going back to the Okanagan and Vancouver campuses, one question is, what is the difference between the Vancouver and the Okanagan programs, MDS programs?
Well, the Okanagan program is a newer program. This will be the first year of the program. The curriculum for both programs is very similar. In fact, we've shared all the materials from the curriculum developed here so that the people at Okanagan will have a good head start on the curriculum. So there's a lot of similarities between the two programs. Clearly, they're at different campuses with a different ecosystem, different instructors, and so on. So they will each have their own distinctive feel.
Perfect. Related to that, is there a single application process, or does one have to apply to both?
So they're completely different application processes, and the timelines are actually different too. So stay tuned for the deadline for Okanagan.
So you have to submit an application. If you want to apply for both programs, you have to apply separately, submit 2 different application forms.
This one, I think I have the feeling that we've touched a bit about it already, but it might be useful to have a sort of a comprehensive discussion about it. The question reads, what do you think are the distinguishing aspects of this program compared to many of the online resources that are scattered around for data science or even other data science programs?
Well, I presume that, when you look into the details, all the programs are quite different. I think a lot of thought has gone into the development of the curriculum for this program. Many experienced people in both the statistics and the computer science departments have been working together very closely. It's a joint effort. Young people like Mike have been on the team since the get-go, people right at the cutting edge of machine learning and data science, contributing their knowledge and ideas. We have truly top-notch instructors, both dedicated teaching fellows and instructors, and also world-class researchers, highly experienced, teaching our modules. So those are some of the aspects of the program. The short time frame, I think, is probably a distinguishing aspect of the program. So other programs that you might find may be piecing together existing material into a more coherent package in order to offer something in data science. But I think this is very customized, very tailored, very clear in its vision for the students, what we hope they'll get out of it. And we're pretty proud of the result and its success so far.
I'll maybe add a couple of things to that. As Anne mentioned, the program was designed recently and is intended to be current, and we have time set aside to keep it current. And I've been amazed. It's only been a couple of years since this all started, and yet there's all kinds of packages in R and Python that's gone in and out of fashion, and tools. And for example, now Jupyter Lab is being released. We use Jupyter Notebook a lot while teaching. And then also advances in the field. So I'm currently teaching neural networks and deep learning to the students. In fact, we had a lecture this morning, and it's just a different field than it was 5 years ago. So there's always a lot to keep up on. And one thing that's great about our program is we're committed to keeping it up to date.
And I think, to add to that, and Anne already talked to it earlier, the difference between obviously an online program and our program in person, a cohort-based program, is the relationships you build within the cohort. The first cohort already has had maybe 2 or 3 reunion dinners, and they're connecting and networking with with this current cohort. So the relationships and the connections you build being in the classroom every day for 10 months straight is a really strong bond, I think, that you develop. So that's, I think, and they all have different backgrounds from different countries, different industries, different work experiences. So it's a great connection of different people with different backgrounds. So I think that's one of the biggest differences between our cohort-based program and maybe an online program out there.
Yeah, I just want to add, having taught the 65 or so students in the first couple of cohorts, those are some very impressive people. Those are the people you want in your network, and that alumni network is only going to grow. So I just wanted to second what Milad was saying.
Perfect. Okay, so somebody asks, are there any opportunities for teaching assistantship positions or research assistantships or graduate assistantships in the program?
I could take that. So in order to be a teaching assistant in the program, one needs to be a current graduate student at UBC. However, we are currently hiring for a lecturer. That would be a full-time position teaching in the program. So if that's of interest, please take a look at the posting for that on our website.
But I'm not sure, but maybe the poster was interested in being a TA during the program as they were taking the program. Would that be feasible?
Would it?
I think
Probably not.
it's an intense program, so I don't know if you'll have time to even work part-time or do something on the side. And also, as you're going through the program, it's a short 10-month program as well, so I don't know how you would teach people that are a year, like if you're a TA in your second year, you can TA people that are in their first year, but this is a 10-month program, so I'm not sure how that would work.
There have been some students in the past who worked part-time, and the fact that we don't have class on Fridays is an advantage often in those situations. So there are people who have done, say they left their job to come to their program, they continued to work for their former employer 1 day a week on Fridays, or there have been a few students who have done, I suppose, research assistantships with groups at UBC. As Milad was saying, we tend to caution people that this is an intense program and there might not be enough time for that, but certainly some students have managed to juggle all of those things.
Okay. One question that comes up every now and then is the following: would it be possible to extend the capstone project beyond 2 months, to make it longer?
No, the program is kind of designed as a 10-month program, and I don't know, we can't really make any changes to it without going through Senate and those kind of things, especially bigger changes.
But there's a positive side to this, which is last year, 2 of the 5 capstone partners we worked with hired one of the students that was working on that project, and those people are now full-time at those organizations. So the natural way would be do such a good job that you convince them to hire you, and that has been happening.
And I'm actually, I was going to say, talking to a couple of employers who are interested in maybe after the capstone doing another 2 or 3 months of an internship or something like that. So we're kind of in discussions with some employers that express some interest. Yeah, perfect. But that would be kind of outside of the program. It would be kind of like an internship that you do after you graduate. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so we have a couple of minutes left, and there are 2 questions that I would like to get in before we wrap up. One is about living arrangements or residential housing, I guess, housing in general for students. Do we provide any help for students?
Yeah, so there's a department at UBC, the housing department, that handles all on-campus housing. So you need to contact them. All the information is on the housing.ubc.ca website. So you can apply for on-campus housing. A few of our students actually have gotten are living on campus in the graduate students' housing. And there's also some resources on how to find off-campus housing. So unfortunately, Vancouver is a little bit challenging, a little bit expensive in terms of housing. So if you are planning to come to Vancouver from outside, plan ahead and plan way ahead. As soon as you get your offer and you accept your offer, start looking for housing.
Perfect. And the last question would be, when will the results of this round of applications be announced?
So we're, as you were saying, actually, we're already reviewing applicants and we've already sent out some offers, but the bulk of the offers will probably go around right after the deadline, all the way, and Anne was saying this as well, all the way till maybe May, maybe early June. So that's where the bulk of the offers will go out.
So late spring
Yeah.
and all.
April, May, I guess.
April, May, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we run out of time, but there are a few questions that are left there that are very specific. So I guess we can encourage people that still have questions to send them by email.
Yeah.
And we'll answer them.
Yeah.
But I think we've gone through, I would say, the vast majority of them. So
Great.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time,
you.
Thank
for
you.
your answers. We're done. All right. So good luck with your applications, and we hope to see you soon.